Hello everybody. So this is the last part of the scouting workshop that I went on. This is I would call it a round table at the very end. We all sat around in the woods and kind of discussed what we were taking away from the scouting workshop that day. And I'm just going to apologize a little bit because some of the guys were a long ways off and I was using my GoPro with a directional mic. So if I didn't have it facing directly at them, may be a little hard. I tried to adjust the sound as best I could. So enjoy this. It's a little long, but I thought I'd put them both together. Went through 2 batteries on this episode, or this part of the recording, so I did miss a little section in the middle, and I think I missed the last 2 guys. Sorry guys, at the very end. All right guys, enjoy.
When you getting a smartphone?
Soon.
Everybody keeps hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these days. I mean, I just recently got this piece of modern equipment.
Stringing cans.
Well, I hope everybody got their cardio.
Yeah.
Just a little workout. I think we put some miles on. At this point, I'd like to go around and have everybody talk individually about maybe say who you are, where you're from, and how you can associate what we're doing here to what you're doing. You know, what you learned here. And if you got any final questions or you got any comments, we'd love to hear them. So we'll just make our way around. Okay, is Tyler sitting on this thing or what? We'll start with you.
Sure. I'm JD Corey from Grand Rapids, Michigan, about a 5-hour drive for us. I grew up hunting in South Texas. You got any people from Texas? Okay, good, because Texas, nothing against Texas, but it's a lot of private land. You know, feeder goes off, 100 deer come running into the feeder, and in most spots it could be, if you want to pay enough, pretty easy to shoot a pretty good sized deer. But then I moved up to Michigan and it's a totally different ball game. A lot of public land, but a lot of pressure too. So started looking at different ways, and that's where I found Dan and the Beast. And coming out here today, some of the stuff I really, just keyed in on was seeing the points, the beds. I've listened to all this stuff, read all this stuff on the Beast, but so it's matching up. It's just giving me that visualization. So excited to get out and start hunting like this. It's gonna be fun.
Fair enough.
I'm Matt Meekoff. I'm also from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nice.
Although I don't know any one of those guys. I've been following the Beast style for a couple years now. But it's always been, I think, really intimidating to me. The places I hunt, where I get big marshes just like that. Well, maybe not this big, but you walk up to them and you're just like, all right, so there's a couple islands, and just where do you go? Where do you start? So I think it helped a little bit today, figuring that out.
A little grasp on how to go through it a little quicker.
Yeah, 'cause I would probably be up in here in the hardwoods too, looking for rubs. And
Yeah. I think the rubs up in the hardwoods distract a lot of people from what they really need to see.
And I hunt a huge variety of stuff, from big woods up northern Michigan to little swampier stuff down south. So, yeah, should be helpful.
My name's Tony Icavoni, from Grand Rapids as well. On a lot of private land back home. Don't do as much state land, but after doing this, being able to go out, look at maps, and come out and go over the land, it gives you a better perspective of taking on the challenge of hunting public land, and taking on the challenge that there's a lot more people out there, and what you have to look for, and you don't waste as much time going through the woods now. You actually know what to look for, and seeing certain sign, don't settle on it, and go where other people don't, and kind of get back out there and try to shoot a big one.
Sounds like a good plan. Tyler, you got any comments?
Yeah, I'm Tyler. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm Big Hunt on the Beast. I've been in the videos, a couple podcasts, but I've been coming on these seminars for quite a while. This is what, my 20th one or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty successful in hill country, and I've been hunting the marshes. And one thing really you should stress about is getting close to the bedding. The closer you can get to the bedding, the higher your chances are of literally just seeing the deer. I mean, the past 2 seasons are probably my best 2 seasons yet. I mean, I've really been pushing my limits, and I've been kicking more deer out than ever, but I'm also seeing bigger and more deer. So there's a couple things. It's just get as close as possible as you can. Pretty much all I can tell you. I mean, you can take all this stuff and run with it at your own places. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff, but getting as close as possible to the bedding is one of the main keys. So
that is absolutely critical. And I think a lot of times in the videos and stuff, I don't think people can see that distance. Yeah. But I think on the workshop, I think you really get a grasp of how close we are getting.
Guys, they look at 25 yards, they're like, what? I mean,
like down here, I never thought you'd do that.
No.
Yeah. Definitely not. Been there, done that, seen it so many times. So, but yeah.
Tim?
I'm Tim. On the Beast, I'm Northwoods, Wisconsin hunter. Northwoods up in Tomahawk. As Dan mentioned, we have low deer density up there, and there's big ones. It's a little more work getting on them. You don't run into them as frequent as you do in other areas. One thing I guess I could stress is that regardless of the area you hunt in, Dan's principles work. They're creatures of edge. The bedding, they're going to always have that. The hierarchy, they'll always have that. As the seasons transition, could also stress first sits. Dan, and many Beast members can stress on first sits, and it's a testament on how effective it can be, as far as putting down mature animals. My recommendation, like myself personally, if since I'm in low deer density, I'm going to be looking at other public land, throughout Wisconsin, and it makes it a little bit easier, I suppose, to get on them when they exist. So you gotta go where big bucks are to kill big bucks. So.
And that's kind of what I was stressing too. Is I think most people are creatures of, they learn a property and they just stick with it. And they want to do better, but they keep going to that same spot, and a lot of their success or lack thereof depends on that spot. Where if you look at what I'm doing, I'm showing you an area, but I'm telling you, I'm reaching out and hunting a lot of areas. I'm moving around a lot around the state and even outside of the state, but I'm always moving to where the bucks are.
Yep. And you have the ones that are successful in certain spots, and then suddenly those spots dry up, and then they struggle. Because all they know is that one area. So whereas like Dan moves around so much, he knows his areas.
I'm Lauren Eggert. I'm from Indianapolis. So I hunt the kind of hill country in south central Indiana, some state land there. I'm an indie hunter on the forum, but I'm a lurker and not a poster. I think my first post was until Deanna was in for this. A real key takeaway for me is seeing like what the sign looks like now, and even though it doesn't look super fresh, just having the confidence because there's rubs in it, that the deer had an antler hard horned when it was making that sign, and be able to give me confidence, because I've definitely found spots like this, but I just really need to have the confidence to throw a sit at it and be aggressive and not sit back too far. And if you bust them, you bust them, but that's good information to use for the following year. So
I think until you get that confidence to just go in and throw a stand at it, you're always going to have that little bit of doubt, and that's how you build your confidence. That's how you grow as a hunter. You just got to take some chances and try some things.
I feel like I've been way too conservative at times, and I've definitely seen deer, but not necessarily the big ones. So I think this has definitely been valuable.
Brad from Michigan. Biggest pressure ever. Me and Justin here, we're always out together. We've been watching the beast for a couple years now. We just started being like mobile last year. I think last year's the first year we actually jumped around. I mean, only hunted the same spot a couple times. We didn't see much at all. We saw a lot more when we hunted the other way, but it was nothing special. But I know it's going to take time, and we're in it for the long run. Seeing the stuff. We've been doing this, just watching the videos and you guys and THP and stuff. I mean, that's where we've learned so much. We've got such an advance on a lot of people, and we're spreading the word and trying to get other people to, in our group. Don't want everybody doing the B style, but around me at least. But I appreciate everything you do, and it's got us real excited to do this style.
One thing I notice is that when you go into a new area, and even me, even with the experience I have doing this for years, is you don't really know what's going to come out of a spot until you throw a few sits at it. So, like when I hunt an area the first year, I try a bunch of bedding areas that I think are going to be good, and some of them pan out, some of them don't. And you got to learn, when to drop them and when to keep them, and which ones to keep hunting. And I think after a few years I fine-tune an area, and I think to some degree sometimes we make it look too simple. Like I go, oh, here's the bedding area, here's where they come out, here we're going to kill them. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go home and do this. But it ain't always that easy. But if you stick with it, you'll start seeing trends, you'll start getting better, and it isn't an instant process. If it was, everybody'd be doing it. It does take work and it does take effort.
I'm Mark Doring. I'm from Caledonia, Wisconsin, about an hour and a half southeast of here. Usually I had property in Michigan, private property, so I'd go back there quite a bit and hunt, and we had a lot of acreage over there. So you kind of got lazy because you'd set up your stand and wait for the deer to come in. So this is a completely different style, getting out on the public land and going out and seeking. I think one of the biggest things with you is setting up observation stands to try and see what's, pick out an area, and then if you're not seeing anything, then move on. So I think that's one of the biggest ones.
I'm Brett Wolf from central Minnesota. I've been following the beast for like a year or two now, and I really resonate with a lot of what Dan says, because where I'm from, a lot of the areas are exactly like this. Like it's like looking in a mirror. So like, I don't know, I'd say the biggest things I've learned from the day is like how this sign looks with this much snow on it. I always wonder, like, when I'm out there recently, like, is this a bed? It's kind of tough to tell with all this snow. Now I can confirm and deny certain things. This is my first year too, being almost entirely mobile. I know someone was talking about that. And I did kind of see less deer, like they said, but I saw a lot more big deer. I was a lot more successful. I just saw a lot more sign and just felt better about it too. So that's all I really got.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there. Some areas you see more deer doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Because that's, in some areas, based on the pressure and stuff, that's the only way you're going to see deer, really. But there are areas with lots of food sources and stuff and lots of deer where you'll see more deer hunting the traditional way. But you're certainly going to see more big bucks hunting the way I hunt. You're just going to see less deer. And you got to get over that too. I mean, people look at my success and they think, oh, I go out and I'm killing deer all the time, seeing big bucks all the time, but there's been times I go 10, 20 hunts in a row without seeing a deer. Not seeing one deer. But that don't bother me one bit, because there's only one or two deer I'm after. So I don't have to see little stuff to be entertained or to make me feel good about myself or what I'm doing, because that's not what I'm hunting. It's almost like those little deer are a whole different animal. It's like squirrels versus deer. It's not even like they're deer. It's like where those 5-6-year-old bucks are at, they don't act anything like those small deer. You have to hunt those deer to kill them. So even if, some of you guys might be just starting out, and even if you just want to shoot a deer, I would recommend not getting into the bad habit of going to where all the deer are and just shooting deer. Because deep down, no matter who you are, if you're honest, you'd like to kill a big buck. So if you hunt the way that we're hunting, where we're pushing the limits and stuff, You're still going to kill deer. Maybe it's a little harder to kill a smaller one, but at least you're in the game for the big stuff. And that's what you really need to be, is at least in the game, so you have that opportunity. Who's back there?
I'm Justin from Michigan as well. We obviously run into a lot of pressure in Michigan, and we were kind of talking about it. Like some of these spots we saw today, like we'd for sure find tree stands everywhere where we hunt. So I guess I guess we need to take away is finding more spots and just keep walking and finding more spots to hunt throughout the year to where we don't have that pressure. And we kind of picked up on it this year as well. We prefer to hunt swamps and marshes, and that's where we like to go. And we kind of learned this year that once they ice over, the amount of deer that are out there is way less than what it was early season, and we start seeing a lot more coyote tracks out there and stuff like that. So like this year we kind of tried to wait until later in the season.
You can't trust a lot, but if I think back to when I used to guide back here, we used to kill a lot of big bucks when I guided. And what was fun is I'd take 4 guys a weekend, and I'd do a 3-day weekend, and I'd throw those guys at spots. And if I had an inkling about a spot that I'm not really confident, but I'm wondering, I'd throw a guy at it, you know. And it might sound bad, but it actually, most of those spots were way better than I thought, but I needed that confidence, and that gave me the confidence. And I learned a lot just from throwing those guys at it. It was like I was getting 4 or 5 sits a day, you know. It was pretty good. And now, you know, I hunt a lot with Mario a lot because we work together and we hunt that conservancy together, and you know, teaming up on areas. You know, a lot of times you burn out that area when you hunt it, but you can get on both sides. Like that hunt where I killed my buck. He hunted one exit, I hunted another, and it just works out that way. Nice, if you can trust the people you hunt with. Rob?
I'm Rob. Milwaukee. I work with Dan and Mario on one of the tree stands and sticks and stuff like that. And this is my first year. Dan and Mario got me out beast style hunting, and I had an awesome time hunting with Mario for my first bull buck and beast style hunt kill this year. And to echo Tyler, Dan, big thing about getting close is that if you actually kind of look, the plateau we were hunting on is very similar to this. Instead of a swamp, it was buckthorn, and I'm walking in like, oh, we're gonna sit up here, we're gonna sit up high, we don't want to get too close. And Mario's like, nope, we gotta keep going down, we gotta keep going down, and we were maybe only 15 yards off the buckthorn where the buck jumped out. And if it would have been further back, wouldn't have had a shot, or wouldn't have been able to get to him maybe. And so I just said the last weekend too is just having that confidence to get closer. And if I wouldn't have had Mario with me, I would have been sitting up on the top of the hill and maybe not even seen him jump out of his bedding area. So.
Ron Lakeville, northern Minnesota. I've been bow hunting since I was 11, and just discovered the beast this year, and kind of blown away by all the wrong assumptions I had about just about everything. So I appreciate what you're doing. It's been very, very helpful. One thing I'm just trying to do out of today is just figure out how to try to take this kind of big woods, so tracts of 5,000 to 15,000 acres. Like, this is giving me some help where to start, but that's a lot of territory to kind of, where do I key in?
If I look at northern Minnesota, which is what you're talking about, right? I look at swamps mostly, because they're going to look for areas where they don't get harassed by wolves or people, and they're going to look for those wet areas. So within that northwoods, there's going to be some swamps. They're not going to look like this. They're going to have more sawgrass and more tamarack and dogwood, but they're going to have those same shape features, and I'd concentrate on that, and I'd look for those points of brush in the terrains and stuff. You're going to have a harder time finding deer. You have to move a lot, but I would just keep walking those transitions till you find signs, set up and hunt it. Pretty similar to this hunting, actually. It's just a matter of you probably got a lot less deer, and you probably got to work harder for them. But just keep moving. I think most likely one of your false assumptions, hunting that same stands or rotating through stands, and that'll kill you. Those bucks will figure you out. And I think those Northwoods bucks that smell less people are even more on edge when they smell a person. So you hunt a spot once and they really stay away from it, you know.
I'm Rick Kimball. I also help out Dan. I hunt north of Milwaukee. All I can take out of this right now is there's going to be a lot of scouting going on. Because I have to find more than just a few areas to hunt, and I'm going to be doing it starting next weekend and into spring. And like Dan says on his videos, it's all about scout, and then hunt. I had to hunt the day I went out, and that's no longer the case. It's scout, and then hunt.
Yeah, I'm talking about how I scout my way in. There's times when I scout my way in hunting and I never even end up hunting. Scout till dark and end up going home. I got to feel confident about my hunt. And if I'm not onto something, I'll just keep going till I am. And if I don't get on something, the next day I start over. I think it's important to strive for that, because you got to be hunting deer to kill them. You know what I mean? You got to find them, and you got to just keep pushing that envelope. And some of you guys, like the Northwoods hunter here, are going to have that issue. You're going to get out there and there's not a lot of sign. You got to go find it, and it's going to mean searching some stuff down and going through some dead zone. I've been up in the area where you're talking and been surprised how little sign you can find on some of them points and stuff, and walking, and how many miles you put on, because I'm comparing it to this area. But if you just keep putting those miles on, you'll get on them.
I'm Nick Dunnifer. I live in Iron Ridge now. When I grew up, we were like northern Wisconsin is where we go. We had a little like 40 acres, and it was like throw up a ladder stand, and my uncle's motto was like, it's time in the stand. If you're not there all day, you're not going to kill anything. And after a while, I just got burnt of it, and I stopped hunting. And I started going with him. We started killing ducks and geese like it's going out of style, and then I got burnt to that, and I was like, man, I still miss that deer hunting. And I probably listened to like every podcast you ever done since then, and all the video on YouTube, and it's like so different than what we were doing, and it's like seen a lot more deer, and it's amazing. I love the public land, running around and doing all that and scouting. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I could ever go back to just 40 acres again, even if it were a private or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of those old school philosophies were crazy, but everybody had them back in the old days. I remember my old man trying to tell me that I needed to put a transistor radio on a talk show in the middle of a field and sit downwind, because deer are curious and they'll circle the field. And he would tell me that all the time. He'd be mad at me because I wouldn't do it. They had some crazy ideas. I remember noticing years ago, see, it's different now, like with kids. I don't know, somehow society has changed. Now and I'm guilty of it too. We take our kids and we want to make sure they're successful, and we put them in the best spot and hand hold them out there and get them to shoot a buck. But when I grew up, and probably any of you that are older like I am, that wasn't the case. I mean, your dad, the men that were in the group, you had to earn your way in, and they would be like, okay, well, you could sit there. This is our spot. You stay there. And they put you in some spot where nobody wanted to hunt. And what I would see is these young kids would always, the first time out, would shoot some giant buck. Well, nobody ever hunted that spot, and that's why. But you see that over and over and over again. But basically, my old man worked 2 jobs to get us, out of the city and into the country, and I did the hunting. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody going out with me. So his bad advice was to the door. When I got outside, I did what I wanted. I didn't have to worry about retribution or anything, and I just went out and hunted and learned on my own. And I think that's what led me to this direction. Early on, I saw if I wasn't close to that bedding, I wasn't getting on deer, and it's a lot to that. You go? Sure.
I didn't go, no. My name's Eric. I'm from Sheboygan Falls, about an hour and a half north of here. I actually just recently found out about the beast. It's thrilling to find this out. It's inspirational. I didn't take bow hunting seriously until about the last 3 years. I have been hunting for about 15, 16 years with gun, and we did the same traditional hunting. We set up stands in the woods with my buddy Ryan here. He has some private property up north. around the Crivets area. And we would set up stands and cut lanes and sit in the same spot, you know, all day, every single year, and hope to see something. And once in a while you'll see something, but it's not where, as I found out today, where some of these mega bucks are. We had both finally just shot our first decent buck this year. I got a decent 8 and he got a decent 10, and that's also something that is inspiring us. And I plan from this point on, I've always been on private land. I would like to try out some public land. I'm only about 20 minutes away from the Sheboygan Marsh. I don't know if you've ever hunted that, Dan. It's nothing that I have hunted. I would like to try it after seeing this today. Up there, you're talking almost 8,000 acres of swamp area. So
I've looked at it on a map. It looks like a pretty good area.
yeah, I would like to try it. I know there are big bucks that come out of there. I've always been very skeptical of the public hunting side of things. You hear so many stories and guys fighting, and I just wanted to stay away from that. But now I see that there are areas on public hunting that you can be successful in. So
the stigmas are worse than reality. Hunting public land ain't that bad.
Sure. I guess I worry about all the pressure there, and I guess you think that that's going to eliminate your chances, and so I really haven't taken the initiative to try it, but I believe now that I want to get out there and scout and try the public land.
As soon as the snow melts, you should get out there.
Yeah, yep.
I'm Ryan, as Eric said. I'm from Jackson, Wisconsin. Hunted the Sheboygan area, Kettles a little bit, Jackson Marsh area, also up Marinette County, as you mentioned. A little bit more difficult out there, a little less deer population, obviously. But yeah, basically, as Eric said, I mean, just sitting in that box, I mean, that's sitting in that exact same stand every day. It doesn't get you anywhere, you know. You got to get up and move and get closer to those bed signs. And I've been scouting public land for the last couple of years. I haven't hunted a ton, but kind of getting my feelers out there, and I get recommended to check you out from a buddy of mine, and I've liked what I've seen, and I think today was successful, and a lot of things I can take away and hopefully have success and come back home.
Good.
I'm Brennan. I'm a Detroiter. I'm in Michigan. I'm in Washtenaw County, Hillsdale County. I came across you a few years ago on YouTube, just following through hunting videos because I don't really like watching the mainstream media kind of stuff. So I just wanted to see the average guy, you know, doing their own filming stuff. Came across you. A lot of good stuff. This kind of terrain is nothing that I hunt, but I do hunt some swamps in Hillsdale County. And so I got a point similar to that I've noticed a lot of the same features, same bedding techniques, a little island out there, and I've only shot a handful of decent bucks out of it, but I never got close enough. I'm very paranoid when it comes to deer hunting, so I don't even want to blow up a single doe on the way to my stand. So, but I've noticed that getting closer and finding buck bedding is definitely the key. And that's how I killed that one earlier this year. I showed you. So, yeah, no marshes for me, but I hunt a lot of like flatland, thicket, wheat fields, hardwood, some creek boss. I've been playing some hunts in the back of my mind from previous years. They all kind of correlate. I just gotta try to get in a little bit closer. But I'm not a mobile hunter. I like to hang a lot of sets on private land, and sometimes I won't even sit in them that year. And I just kind of pick and choose, you know, based on the weather, wind, etc. I like what you do. I'm glad to meet everybody else here, and I know we're all learning something today, so it's a pretty cool gig.
I'm Matt. I'm from Hillsdale County, Michigan, the very southern part. I heard about the beast through Brennan. I had heard of you, Dan, but I never really followed your stuff. I kind of started listening to your podcast, watching your videos, and I was thinking, man, I can relate to a lot of what you say. I agree with 99.9% of some of the things some of the tactics and theories that you have. And it just kind of helped me put some of the pieces of the puzzle together. And kind of like Brendan said, today and even days, I work like an hour and a half from home, so it's a great time to listen to podcasts, you know, when I'm driving to work or whatever. And I'll catch myself thinking, man, if I could go back to that buck or this buck or that buck, some of the things, you know, I've had opportunities to get pretty close to some really good deer, but I've never been able to get close enough. You know, I've always been that guy that's 100 yards too far back, you know, and they'll skirt me. And then I'll go out 3 days later and set up on them again with a good wind, and they'll do the same damn thing again. And here I am just sitting back instead of going, man, you know, why don't you take everything and get a little closer? And after today, I've kind of seen, you know, how you would set up, and I think it'll definitely play a key role in some of my future hunts. I see some success.
My name's Josh Gardner, my brother. He's on the group. Used to be like 9-10 guys, and then GM shut down, and them guys all got retransferred, so it kind of group fell apart. But him, my dad, and I, we go up there still, and pretty much hunt the same areas, except we're in the areas the other guys were in more now. But it was pretty much, you know, hang a stand, sit all weekend, and that. Just got sick of, you know, not seeing deer. You know, by what, you know, by chance something had run by, and we actually had a trail camera up a couple of years ago and found out, oh, there are big deer up there, you know. And it's like kind of the last couple of years I've been a little more, you know, get my ass out in the stand and that stuff, and it's nice seeing like what to look for to kind of narrow it down, because the area up there in Black River Falls is just massive. Like where do you narrow it down to? Because you can walk, you know, for days and, you know, look at stuff. So it should help narrow down the area. You know, we learned here today, and even over by Kettle Moraine Forest, and even the same thing over there. It's just so much land, you know, where do you even start, you know, so it should help with that kind of stuff, getting more in the right areas or where to look and try and get down.
I hope you guys enjoyed that last part of that scouting workshop. We had a great time, and thanks Dan and the team that put it together for us. Stay tuned, we've got some more good stuff coming on the channel, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go, and thanks for supporting my channel. Really appreciate it, guys. Have an awesome day, and before you go, hit that subscribe button. See you guys later. Bye-bye.